War II, we went in from the piston age to the jet age. And then the Korean War started. Off to the right on the takeoff roll now. From up in Indiana, his name is Paul Wood. He is flying the North American F-86 Sabre jet. Was the design bureau in Russia that built their aircraft for the North Koreans as North Korea and the communists tried to take over South Korea. At the controls of those MiG-15s early in the war were very seasoned Russian pilots. The American aircraft, which was pitted against the MiG-17 initially, was a Lockheed aircraft known as the F-80 Shooting Star. It was a straight-winged airplane. It could not climb as fast. It could not fly as fast, and didn't have the kind of armament that the MiG-15 had. So North American Aviation, the same company that manufactured in only 117 days the P-51 Mustang, which became purportedly and under many surveys the most important fighter of all time, that same company took some information they had on wings, the swept wing, and came up with the swept wing North American F-86 Sabre jet. Powering it was a 5,100 pound of thrust General Electric J47 turbojet engine. Now I'm going to fade the music and listen to the sound of the jets. The turbojet that powers that aircraft operates on a very simple set of principles. You suck the air in, it's got a fan blade. Then it's got more fan blades that compress that air. So you suck it in, you squeeze it, and then that compressed air is then fed into a series of combustion chambers around the central fan shaft, and combined with fuel and an igniter, which then causes a controlled explosion. The gases escaping from the combustion chamber turn on another set of blades on that same shaft, which makes it spin faster, which sucks in more air, which squeezes it up. You blow it up and you go. So 4 words: suck, squeeze, blow, and go. And that's how a turbojet works. And that's what we see here. The initial climb rate of the F-86 Sabre jet was about 7,000 feet per minute. The roll rate is incredible. You see Paul Wood, the pilot, a gentleman who's been flying Warbird since 2007, after he retired from Madison Dearborn Partners, a very successful investment firm. And he flies a number of different aircraft, and we believe that he will be flying another jet for us later in the day, a more modern jet than this. Made in Canada and also here in the United States by North American Aviation, the pilots who flew these against the MiG-15s of the Korean War had a very, very good time, if you will, against the MiGs. The kill ratio eventually racked up by American pilots during the Korean conflict, and with this airplane against the MiGs became 11-1. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to welcome back to the stage, going to tell us a little bit more about the F-86, and joining me up here, the gentleman who just got off the Wright B Flyer, is getting out of his flight gear and getting his show gear on. Please welcome winner of the International Council of Air Shows Sword of Excellence, member of the International Council of Air Shows Hall of Fame Award, the Bill Barber Award for Showmanship Award winner, and the Art Scholl Award for Showmanship winner. He is Mr. Danny Clisham. We call him Hollywood. Welcome Danny Clisham to the stage.
Thank you, Rob Reiner. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And Rob was telling you about the F-86 and the sponsor of the F-86 today. I think you mentioned that, UTC Aerospace.
I did earlier in the day. They're proud to be a sponsor. The Wheels and Brakes business located in Troy designs and manufactures aircraft wheels and brakes for at least 200 types of aircraft. It's UTC Aerospace Systems.
Well, the F-86 is so significant in the history of military aviation because after World War II, we were entering the jet era. As we went into the Korean War, there were still propeller-driven, piston-powered airplanes in the air, mostly delegated to the attack role, the ground attack role, or the bombing role. But the dogfight arena belonged to the swept-wing fighters. I don't know if Rob told you, but as Paul would bring the aircraft back in, I want you to look at a big breakthrough in aviation and aerodynamics, especially in fighters and later in jet aircraft. It is the sweep of the wings. As Paul Wood rolls the aircraft around, you see the swept wing. He won't do it this time because the gear flaps are down. And by the way, one of the things that North America put into the airplane when it got into the slow speed environment like this was automatic leading edge devices that would deploy and form another airfoil, the leading edge of the wing, to help for slow speed maneuverability and for landing. 35 degrees. Aeronautical data taken from the Germans after World War II. That's why the dogfight arena over Korea, when we were fighting, the MiG aircraft, they too had similar design of our F-86. And unless you were in a swept-wing aircraft, air-to-air combat would not be fair. Of the 40 aces that were produced in in the Korean War, 39 were in the F-86 Sabre, like the one you're watching now. The other one was the only piston-powered ace and the only Navy ace of the war. That was in a Corsair, a night fighter Corsair. So eyes to the right, you can see the smoke and you can see the gleam of the F-86, and perhaps this will be, on this pass, one of the examples of that swept-wing design. You notice F-86 has a reputation. It was the world's leading distributor of MiG parts. Rob told you about the 10 to 11 to 1 kill ratio of the airplane in the Korean War. And that's the spread MiG parts from one end of the Yalu River to the other. It was also, that kill ratio was also courtesy of some great training that our pilots had, that the enemy didn't take time to be able to pass on to their pilots, and it was not a fair fight in many cases. Our pilots just outflew the big pilots.
One of the things you might notice about the F-86 Sabre jet is you saw the smoke. Not the white smoke as it came by, that's air show smoke, but the dark smoke that we saw on its previous passes. That was a dead giveaway for early jets, and a lot of scientific work was done to improve the efficiency and lessen the smoke signature of the airplane so it couldn't be seen coming quite so easily.
As the aircraft approaches for its final approach and landing, 9,800 of these units were built in 4 different countries. Rob gave you some information about that. Great pilots like Colonel Buzz Aldrin flew the F-86, Joseph McConnell, James Jabara, the first Korean ace, Francis Gabby Gabreski, Ivan Kinchelow. Major John Glenn of Ohio flew the F-86 in combat, and Second Lieutenant Gene Kranz of NASA fame. failure is not an option was his byword. Also flew the F-86. And throughout the course of the years, when we've had time to talk to the legendary R.A. Bob Hoover about all of the airplanes he flew, all of his exploits, both civilian and military, the question has come up in a group of us having dinner with Bob or socializing with Bob. Bob, who was your absolute favorite
Star 71 Blackbird, the F-104 Starfighter, and the U-2 spy plane. And that was one of the guys who worked on those was Cole's grandpappy.
Wow, those are, that's great heritage. By the way, that airplane is here courtesy of UTC Aerospace Systems. UTC Aerospace Systems, formerly Goodrich Corporation, proud to be the sponsor. One of our sponsors here at the air show, the Wheels and Brakes business, located in Troy, Ohio, designs and manufactures aircraft wheels and brakes for over 200 types of aircraft. And UTC Aerospace Systems, our great friends and sponsors, brought that F-86 and Paul put in for the show today. And at UTC Aerospace Systems, they say safe and happy landings from all of us at UTC Aerospace Systems. Thank you, UTC, for getting behind this show and bringing in Paul Wood and the legendary F-86, which, by the way, is going back to be on ground display in your spectator area so that you can see it up close and in person. When you give Paul Wood a wave as he passes directly in front of you with a canopy back on the swept wing, North American F-86 Sabre, the legendary fighter. It's not that big an airplane. The wingspan is only 37 feet. But look on the nose on the left-hand side. You see 3 stripes there. On the other side, there are 3 more stripes. Those are actually the barrels where the 650 caliber machine guns were located that enabled the pilot of the F-86, the very talented American pilots of the F-86 Sabre jet during the Korean War, to rack up that very impressive 11-to-1 kill ratio, even though the MiG-15 had a much bigger cannon in the nose. So lots of talent, lots of skill, and a great airplane there. Now I want you to look out front.